Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 9 of Our Greatest Strength. Hello, my name is Glenn Keller.
And I'm Dimple.
Today's guest is Leonel Del Rio, who came to this country from Mexico. Welcome to the show, Leonel.
No, thank you. It's nice to be here with you.
Good. We're glad to have you. Okay, can we talk a little bit about, how how we wound up knowing each other?
Yes, when I moved to US to Indianapolis, we were in the same office and you and I were in the same project. Uh, I think from the beginning we found a lot of things in common. We like sports, we like bicycles, running, and we worked really well.
Yeah,
And from then on, we worked on a lot of different projects since then
yeah.
and moved to different cities together. As a matter of fact, we went in Richmond with our families when we were there.
Yeah, I mean, we made a kind of a cross-country move together.
Yes.
That I talked you into, as I recall, but I think it worked out.
That's right. We're finishing a project in Europe, and it gave me an opportunity to go to Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah. So Leonel was not in IT. He just happened to be on an IT project. I twisted his arm, and he became an
It
IT
was
person
great.
for a time.
One of the best time of my life. I really
Of
enjoyed
course. Well, I wasn't going to say that, but
Well, I totally believe you, Leonel. Glenn is totally capable of doing that. Well, welcome once again, Leonel, and thank you again for doing this with us. Tell us a little bit about your journey to the US.
I was working for Alcoa CSI in Mexico, and there was an integration in North America, and an opportunity came. I came for the experience of the interview. It was never in my plans to come to United States. Then there was a position that I was a good candidate. I came. It has been probably the most difficult interview in my life. It was like 6 hours with different panels with real case studies. Uh, it was a re-engineering effort at that point of time, and then they make it really interesting to apply. I came back home and I didn't think they were going to call me, but I was offered a position. At that time, Alcoa had their own immigration lawyers. Then that was really, really helpful because then they helped me through the whole process of moving. My wife and I talk a lot about it. And then I was able to convince her for 3 or 5 years we're going to go there. And it's been more than 30, almost 30 years now. But, um, yes, that was really what happened. It has been a lot of years here in terms of immigration processes. We had initially was a visa, then we applied for a green card. Probably the most difficult part of the green card is a year or 2 years waiting for it, and you cannot leave the country. Then, if you wanted to visit, you have to get an advance parole, and that helps you to do it. And there's immigration has always ways to do it, but you just have to be patient and wait for that. Um, then later on, we decided to become citizens. I really enjoy studying for the citizenship. I learned a lot of different things. There's a lot of resources. Also, that's something I really like. But you can do your test yourself. The immigration agents were always really nice, uh, even during the interviews and any questions that we had before. And the ceremony is something I really enjoyed. It was emotional for me to after all those years being here, you love the country, and it was really nice to become a citizen.
Yeah, and you've lived in different parts of the country too. So
Yes. In Indiana, Colorado, Virginia, and now in Minnesota.
yeah, so I mean, I think you, correct me if I'm wrong, Temple, but I think Leonel, you brought a perspective that no one we've interviewed has had so far, in that I mean, you were a transfer from a global national, global,
Yes.
right, a global company between countries, and you had the benefit of the Alcoa lawyers and attorneys who specialize in immigration to help you.
Yes.
Right. And so that's a little bit different than some of the other journeys we've talked about. So, but I know some people that have gone through that with the Alcoa journeys, and it's still, I mean, it's still a long process. I mean, it could still be frustrating, but it takes a lot, I would think, a lot of the pressure off. So with that being said, oh, and there's something else I just thought of. You actually came here twice,
Oh,
right? You go
Yes.
back to Mexico for a job
That
and right, come back to the US.
that is
that was
correct. I was still working for US. I was still working. That was a new acquisition in Texas. Then I had an office in Texas and I had an office in Mexico. But I moved my family back to Mexico because I was doing market development in Mexico and Central America for the new acquisitions. Then it was interesting because I was in my country, but I was working in my country, but I still was working from here. It was a very interesting situation. I really enjoyed it, but yes, of course, I was spending most of my time still here and a lot of the time in there. And now that you mentioned that, uh, and I mentioned before that I was able to convince my wife 3 or 5 years, that was my promise. And then we came back and it was exactly 5 years. And then it was 1 year after that, she started telling me, is there a way that we can come back to US? And as a matter of fact, that was one time you visited the plant and you visited our plant, you finished your meetings and you needed a ride to the airport. Then I drove you to the airport, and that's when I mentioned, hey, my wife is interested in coming back to US. And you just probably put that in the back of your mind. And 1 or 2 months later, that's when you called me and said, there's an opportunity in Indianapolis for a big project for Oracle. Then yes, that was the second move. And that's when I was able to come back to the United States.
Oh, I forgot about that little detail, right? I knew you came to work on the project, but I forgot about how you kind of seeded that.
I always appreciated that.
Did that like bring up so you like being in the US, right, for like 5 years and then going back, back home to Mexico while you were still working on this with this position in the US. Did that present any challenges because were you in the middle of the process still and now you're back in Mexico?
That was the nice thing of the lawyers in Alcoa. They took care of everything. They notified immigration, then everything was always clear. I pay taxes in both countries, of course, to be able to continue all the processes and everything. And kept all the days of whether it should be always open communication. The challenges were cultural, really, because you change. When you move away from your country, you're different. There's a lot of things that initially you reject. But then you just like things that I really like from US and made us come back that were a little bit of a shock when we came back because we didn't see it when we were living there, but now when we come back you start comparing the countries. Then yes, there were challenges.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
But tell us a little bit more about those challenges. So you came to this country, you went back, I'm assuming because it was probably easy for you coming back. You already had your green card at the time, so you could come back.
Yes,
So
that is correct.
yeah, so tell us for you as an immigrant, what was the most difficult part? And then what was the easiest part for you to live in the United States?
I think the most difficult part initially was the language. Because even that I thought I knew English, I was able to speak it. There's a lot of references when you're in a normal day-to-day conversation. References to programs that happened 20 years ago or 10 years ago, or phrases that has a different meaning. Even after being here a long time, I still remember innocent phrases like get out. And then, okay, do I need to get out? Like, no, you don't need to get out. It doesn't mean that. Or you go to a pharmacy. That happened to me when I just came into the country and I had a flu or a cold. I go there with my head cold, and then I translate it from Spanish to English. And I tell them that I needed a medicine because I was constipated. Then they gave me medicine for constipation. I read it and I said, no, no, I'm constipated.
Oh,
Laughing about it because in Spanish it's constipado. Then I translated directly from the Spanish, and those type of things. I mean, I laugh about it at this time, but I used to be embarrassed about it when I just moved into the country. Then I think that was part of what was difficult, the language, some cultural differences too. Something that was difficult for me initially was I came from more of a team type of mentality, and he's more like individual type of mentality. Is more like a, and there is more about what we're doing, and there's more like who's doing it. Then that took me a little bit of time. The sense of humor too. I will make translate jokes that didn't make anybody laugh because it's different. The sense of humor is a bit different. Then that one of the things that now I love, because I love to be able to understand both sense of humor and laugh about them. Then things that I really like is the order, the respect. That's something that I really like punctuality. Where I come from, punctuality is not really a value in the same sense as here, in sense of just being respectful to other people, be on time, uh, don't skip the lines, and wait for your turn. All these different little things that we just take for granted, they don't happen in every place. Then all the things I really enjoy from US. There's other things, of course, that US has things that I really like public libraries is things that we take for granted. But the ability to go there and find almost anything, and if you don't find it in the library, you can order it from a different library. I love reading. Then there's always ways to find books, and then I don't know how to express it from that's. There's the just the you can see how the taxes are being well used. You see the streets, the cleaning when there's and during the winter, all those different things we really like from United States.
Well, what is something that you really miss about Mexico?
Family. My wife and my children and I moved here, but the rest of our family is still there. Then my sisters or my in-laws or being with my father. When you're away, you miss a lot of things. Like if there's birthday parties, you're never there. Weddings, sometimes you can go, sometimes you can't. Mother's Days, Father's Days. My father is getting older. Then and I cannot be there all the time, or I would like to be more, but I just can't because of work. Then I think that's what I miss more, the family.
Dimple, a lot of other guests have said food, like that was like right out of their mouths. And I'm wondering why you didn't say that is because you can pretty much recreate, what you would consider good Mexican food here.
Now that you mentioned that, 30 years ago, it was difficult to find it. But right now, I can find almost any ingredient that I need, and we can cook it. Then
Yeah.
that's why food, not. But food is something that I enjoy a lot living here because all the different cultures with people from all the different countries. That is something that I really love. Being able to go to different restaurants, Middle Eastern, Indian, African, South American. There's all types of food that you can find. I'm a little bit of a foodie, and I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, I like the word you use, food you can recreate. Well, you can recreate food, family you cannot, right? So
That's right.
we
That's
often feel the same thing, same way also, that especially during the examples that you gave, during tough days and during celebrations are the times when we missed our close ones the most, right? Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
wonderful. So having said all that, if someone were to ask you, Leonel, that why travel to the US or why shift to the US or why move to the US, what would you tell them?
I think this is a country with great opportunities. Great opportunities to really follow your dreams in different ways, and but not in the Hollywood way, but in a it could be a little bit of Hollywood way too, but in a practical way. If you want to practice a sport, there's a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different clubs, a lot of different levels. You can get to the level that you want and can if you really focus on that. Art, hobbies. There's so many different opportunities to do all these different things, to learn from and now, of course, online and internet is making it easier. But even before internet came, there were ways to do it. In terms of traveling, it's easy to travel in the United States, a lot easier than in other countries because of the roads or the planes, also airfares. Sometimes can be accessible if you really look at them. Then you can move in bus, you can move in a train. There are a lot of different ways to move to almost any place here in the country. There's a lot of the nature too. There's a lot of love for nature and the trails, the quality of the trails that we have here in US, the lakes, all the different activities, depending on what you want to do. I think there's a lot of freedom and opportunity to really do that. Then that's from that perspective. From the work perspective too, you put the work, the effort. There's always ways to keep learning. Finding mentors, there's a lot of scholarships available for all different types of careers. Then I think that that's one of the things that the United States offers, a lot of opportunities to really pursue your dreams.
Good. Okay, so kind of a bonus question for you. Do you feel like immigrants from other regions of the world are treated differently?
So, but I don't know how to specific. Well, it could be because of the accent, as a matter of fact, because I think that, and I have examples of a friend that happened to him. He speaks 3 languages, 2 of them completely fluent. At that time, he was learning English. And that happened to us sometimes, that they confuse not being in a stage of learning a language with not being smart enough. Then he was mistreated in a fast food restaurant. Then he asked to speak with a manager, and he told him, "I'm not dumb. I'm just learning the language. I spoke to other 2 languages." I don't think we should have to do that. Do you know what I mean? I hope that one day we're going to have plenty of education that we don't have to do that, but that happens. And I think that happens to different types of immigrants, independent where you come from, when you have that heavy accent. And even with 30 years ago, it doesn't go away completely.
Yeah, and it's a funny thing about accent. I say it all the time that for us, they have an accent, for them, we have an accent, right? That is how it works.
Yes.
I was trying to lose my accent so that I'm better understood over here. And now I'm working hard to go back to my original accent now that I've been here long enough. So but that's a good point that you bring up. I think it's just a matter of awareness sometimes, which is one of the things that we're trying to do here with this platform, because you mentioned about not being able to understand some of the slang and some of the jokes. I've been here close to 20 years. It'll be next year, May. And I still sometimes I'm like, okay, I don't know who was the rock star in 80s. I was not here. And I don't understand some of your jokes still. But earlier I used to just feel like, okay, well, everyone's laughing, I'm supposed to laugh. And now I guess people around me, they can read my face and they're like, oh, by the way, we're talking about this. And I was like, oh, okay, now that makes sense. Thanks for explaining it to me. Wonderful, wonderful. So it was great chatting with you. Feels like we can chat forever, but I do wanted to specifically ask you, is there anything that we haven't talked about, Leonel, that you would like to share with us?
I don't think so, but I would like to take the opportunity to talk about this message was given to us in a Taekwondo tournament long time ago in Columbus, Ohio, and the Grandmaster was speaking about martial arts. But I think that applies also to people from different cultures. And the symbol for that tournament was a diamond. And he talked about gold is a precious stone and it melts together minerals, but diamond is more beautiful. And the reason it's more beautiful is because it has a lot of different faces and each of them is different. but when they're together, they they're just become a very beautiful gem. And I think that that's about all our different cultures. There's not that there's one better culture than other. It's that all of us together, we really make this country more beautiful.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh, I love that.
good.
I'm gonna definitely borrow, steal that, and I'm gonna give you the due credit. I
Uh,
love that. Thanks for
Well, that
sharing.
was Grandmaster Chess credit, but
That's a beautiful thought. I really love that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Leonel, thank you very much for taking the time to come on with us, and been a great guest. We really appreciate it.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you. I really enjoyed it.
Completely agree. Thank you so much. It was wonderful chatting with you. Thank you for all the candid shares, Leonel, and hope our viewers, our audiences enjoyed this interview. If you have anyone who would be a wonderful guest who would like to come on our little venture here of awareness, please do let us know, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel so that you get all the notifications that's going on in our world. Thanks again, Leonel. And thanks everyone for watching.
Okay, thank you.
For watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.